Okay, you guys, I think I've discovered the cheapest, quickest, dirtiest way to mount solar panels, like the cheapest it could possibly be in a semi-permanent state. So if you need to get some solar up quick, watch this video. It's gonna be awesome, and it costs almost nothing. Just so you know, we live completely off grid. So we use solar panels, we ride solar panels, we drive them, we sleep solar panels, we eat them. So we know solar panels. All right, let's get started.
The land provides.
Okay, you guys, we're in a bit of a crisis. Here's our giant solar system, and look, we're at 18%. And so we've got to do something about that today. And let's take a look at why this is happening. The first thing is, here's my office, right? Well, it's hot in here. So I started running this portable air conditioner. And this thing is guzzling power, and not in the good way. But I need it because, you know, you can't work when your brain is melting. Here's the other reason is, we've got air conditioning in the bedroom. Now this unit's a lot more efficient, but you gotta have climate control where Maverick sleeps. So that's not optional either. And they both use a lot less water than the cooler. We've gotta keep Maverick comfortable when he sleeps. Right, Maverick? Uh-oh. He's figured out how to feed the animals. How you doing, honey? The wife and kid, we got to keep them in the food. Okay, you guys, so our options are kind of limited here. We could either take the wife and kid to the Grand Canyon and abandon them Joe Dirt style, or we're going to add some solar panels. Well, I don't feel like going on a road trip today, so let's fix the solar panels. I'm going to have to look away so you guys don't see which way to turn this, so we can't get in here. Okay, we're through the security system. Now let's go in here. Just kidding, guys, our security is by Mossberg and Sons. Okay, so here's a bunch of solar panels, and I want to use these S19s because they've got the lowest open circuit voltage for us here. What are they, 53.4. Believe it or not, all these other ones have higher. So I can put the most in series so I can run a single string back to the house. Panels are brand spanking. Guys, under the Jeep is a spider web, and here is the biggest moth I've ever seen in my life. Look at the size of them. What is that? Not doing too hot. That thing is several inches in diameter. Oh no, I hope he doesn't come eat my shirt off. That would be terrible. All right, first thing I want to do here is measure a panel. Now I wanted to mention, I do want to do a giant, like a 20 kilowatt or a 25 kilowatt ground mount, but our current system almost keeps up with our current loads. We're losing like 8% a day. The issue I have is I'm going in for surgery at the end of this month. It was at the beginning of the month, but it got pushed back because I was sick. But I'm going in for surgery, and I'm gonna, for belly button surgery, I'm getting a second one. I think that's what they're doing. But I'm gonna be down for 6 weeks. And I can't be lifting anything more than 15 pounds, so I can't be moving gas cans, and I don't want the wife doing it. So I need to supplement our electricity so that in case we get a couple cloudy days or a couple of hot days and the air conditioner draws it down. Right now, we're like slowly losing 10% a day of the battery. So we've only got like a day and a half or something, or day, before we run out of power. Okay, so we got our measurements for our solar panels. There's our width and our height. Okay, now we need to go grab a bunch of cinder blocks. So we got the flatbed hooked up to the old work truck, and we're gonna go over to where there's some bricks. There's a bunch of cinder blocks over there. So let's go get them. This truck is a 2001 and it needs a new idle air control. So it idles at about 15 miles an hour. I don't even use the gas anymore. It's kind of become convenient as a ranch truck. I just have a single pedal driving. You just hold this to slow down and you let go to go, and that's it. And the rest of the time you're just cruising at 15 miles an hour. It's pretty cool. good about these older trucks is when you get to the gate, the key is just a quick release, so you can open the gate. All right, here we are. This place was Mr. Boatman's place. He had a bunch of boats here, and I bought it. I bought it when he decided to move, and he took most of his boats except for that one, so that we'd always remember him. There's some free-range cows. I think they got over here and trampled a bunch of stuff, but we've got cinder blocks, so let's go grab. Oh gosh, look at the size of that jackrabbit. Wow. Okay, we've got bricks here next to our fabulous boat, and then over here there's a whole mess of them over here too, and there's even more elsewhere. So I'm gonna pick these up. Look how many I've already picked up. All right, let's go get the rest of them. We hit the jackpot, boys. Look at that. Look at all that. Look how much is over there. So many bricks. Anyways, I can get all those too. It's wicked hot out here, and this water helps a ton. You just wet your head. The air goes through here, and it cools the top of your head so that your brain still works good. Because that's the most important thing about the heat, is to keep your brain working good. Okay, let's go on to our next place. We've got like 55 or 60 bricks. I figure I might as well grab all the salvageable bricks over here while I'm over here. Here's the Airbnb. It's not been getting a lot of bookings lately. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I didn't set up the website correctly or something. Here's our little slice of dystopia over here. So let's see if there's any bricks around here. And I think there's some over here in this little part of our dystopia. You guys feel sorry for me yet? How about now? Anyways, I think I'm going nuts out here. Put a wet shop towel on my head, and that seems to be helping quite a bit actually. Is this? What does all this have to do with solar mounts? Ooh, this is, look at, so a lot of those have been 6 by 8 by 16s, and here's some proper 8 by 8 by 16s, which is what I was hoping for. Oh man, look at this. Oh yeah. All right. Land provides. Or however you do a happy tune. I'm not musically trained. It comes naturally. Like Jimi Hendrix, but with a harmonica. This is our free shuttle if you stay at our Airbnb here. So come on out. The water's fine. We're just waiting on high tide. Ooh, this one's bigger than mine. I had to get this one. It's bigger than a standard one. I'll show this to the wife. Okay, that's what we got so far. Let's load up the rest of this. I'm making great progress. But, you know, whoever did this must have had a bigger or better pick-me-up than my coffee this morning, because it's a lot of toiling, and to what means I do not know. I guess one could say that of my own homestead. And many do, down in the comments below. Alas, judge not, for thee be judged thyself in the comments below. Okay, let me get this loaded up. I don't know what I'm losing my mind. My trailer runneth over. I shall not load any more. I shall leave the rest to reseed so that the land may provide another day. The land provides. Come and see the bounty.
Wow, for some reason I thought it'd be a jangled pile, but that wouldn't make any sense. Why do I feel like there's a snake in one of these?
There's not a snake in any of them. I left enough so that they may take root and provide again. What do you think, Maverick? What are you thinking there? You like that? You're biting it. Oh, stop that. Stop. Stop, stop, stop. That can't be good for your teeth, bro. Look at this. He dented it. That can't be good for your teeth. Okay, you guys. This is what's going on out here. We've got a double rainbow. We got a dust migration. It's sprinkling a little bit. And it's lightning a lot. A lot going on.
What does it mean?
So this is kind of the layout I'm thinking here. This is for one row of panels, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can continue on. I need to do 8 panels, so I'm gonna do 2 rows. But basically these are cinder blocks. So it looks like on the end I'm gonna have 4, and then in the middle I'm gonna do 3, okay? And the idea is that at the end I was thinking wind can get under the edge and pick up that panel. It's not joined to the next one. Now these are our 8 by 8 by 16. I have 34. This design uses all of them. Then I have 6 by 8 by 16s. I have tons of those. And I'm gonna lay those down so I get a tilt. Okay, let's take some measurements here. 23 inches, should be 24, but you know how they short you in building materials. I guess they're accounting for the mortar. So we got 23 inches for 3 and 30 and a half for 4. Okay, let's say we wanted to put a piece of wood up here. That works pretty good for a set of 3. What is that? Is that 36? 32. These are our brackets that we want to mount it with from EcoWorthy. So let's hold this up. Okay, so on the back of our panels here, here's the top. So our first mounting hole is right here, and that's where our bracket can go. So about 13 inches from the edge. Okay, so we know our hole is 13 inches from the edge of the panel. There it is. We're gonna put these panels in landscape, okay? For this kind of mounting that we're doing. From the hole to the edge of the bracket is 2 more inches, see that? So that actually takes us out to 15 inches per side. So that's 30 inches would be a piece of wood that barely works flush right here. We don't wanna have a hole right on the edge of the wood because it'll split it. So if we added an inch to either side, that would take us to 32. So look at our wood, with an inch of overhang on either side would be 32 inches. And then for 4 blocks, we're gonna go to 40 inches. There's a 32-inch piece of wood. That's gonna work great. Over here, for 4 blocks, it's not gonna work. So to just add 8 inches, we'll be lazy. And we'll just use a 40-inch piece. So let's take a look at how much we need for everything. We're gonna need 12 boards per row of the shorter piece, right, of our 32s. So we got 2 rows, we need 24, quantity 24 of 32, okay? Now, 32 goes into 96, which is the length of the board exactly 3 times. So 2 cuts and we get a free board at the end, okay? Now, if we use 40 inches, we're gonna end up with 2 boards, and then we're gonna end up with a 16-inch board at the end, which doesn't do us any good. So if we went with 48, that means we'd have an extra 4 inches hanging off either side. That's not gonna hurt anything. And later on, we have a bunch of 48-inch pieces of wood, and we do 2 cuts per board. So let's change this to 48 inches. That way we just do a cut in the middle, and we're good. Hi, wanna be my lab partner? Now, safety glasses don't look cool, but you also don't look cool running around with a splinter sticking out of your eye. So, wear safety glasses. That's close enough for what we're trying to do. As long as this is 32, this is 23. So just put this 4.5 inches off each side. So it's 4.5 inches in, but let's go 4 inches in to make a mark here on both sides. We know these are 3.5, so what, 1 3/4 inch should be about the middle, about right there. Okay, so we'll go 1 3/4 on this side too. Okay, let's drill a hole here. Look, we got 5/16 is missing. Okay, that's how big our bolts are. But you don't really want to go 5/16. The bolt will fit, but it's so tight. 3/8 is the next size up, so that's a 1/16 bigger. So let's go to 3/8. All right, so let's blow a hole in each end. All right, let's take our other board and just stack it right on top. Now you could do stuff like this, but you have to be careful it doesn't move. So we're just gonna hold it down like hell and push this through. Now we'll drill this one. Okay, so now we have our first frame. Since we're using 5/16 bolts, both our nut and our head are both 1/2 inch, okay? And we've got a 1/2 inch socket on a 1/4 inch extension here. And I'm gonna show you guys something. If you lose your socket adapters for your drill, then you can open this all the way up, and a lot of times it'll just swallow the whole extension. And I do that all the time. Stick our wood in here in the hole. Don't get excited. You want to play it off like you do it all the time. You don't want to act like it's a novelty. Okay. See, if you would have drilled them the exact same holes, you'd be fighting this all the way through. These are 5/16 by 5.5, I believe. That's the size I ended up with. Hopefully it's good enough. Feels like it probably is. You don't want your hole hanging off the edge of these bricks a lot, because as you clamp it down, what you'll do is you'll actually, if you were out here, you'd actually bow this side and bow the bottom side, and you just have a loose mess. We're just off the edges. Now let's go ahead and crank it down. You're gonna have to go back and forth at least once, because if you tighten one side, you're gonna spread the other side. So, let me see how tight this is. It wasn't that tight. Ooh, that might be just perfect. All right, so here's what we got. Here's our wood is married to the blocks, and we've got about 1/2 inch sticking out. Here, I'll lay this on the side so you can see. Let's see how many threads we got sticking out, so thread police can come and bother me. I got at least one sticking out. You'll be all right. So that size works. Let's rip all this apart. Do you see how these two sprung apart? That's because these two are trying to pull it in. There's our prototypes. They're perfect. That's for our short pieces. Let's do our long ones. And then we'll run an assembly line. We've got to make sure everything works first. Let's try 48 inches and make sure that's not going to make anything weird. Let's not be stupid and just keep going. Let's change it to 4. $30.5. 48. Okay, so 48 minus 30.5 is 17.5. So we take 17.5, we divide that by 2, 8.75 from either end. Now, if we go 8.75, we go 1/2 inch out from that. So 8.25. So 8.25. There's that. 1 3/4. So 8.25. 1 3/4 from the edge. That looks good. Let's just put our wood right on top. Let's get for all we got as fast as we can, because we need to go get a sandwich. Okay, we got our 2 prototypes. We know this one's 48 inches long, and it's 8 1/4 from the ends. When you don't mark the other side, it's assumed it's the same. So 8 1/4, here's our other one, is 32 with 4 inches from the sides. Okay? So we'll take a blank board, and we'll take our form. We'll just quickly put it on there. We'll hold it down, and then we'll just do this. You don't have to drill the whole hole, but what you can do is you can get your holes marked. See that? Now here's a problem you can get into. Don't take this one now and make it your form, because you have little errors here, right? And this one's not exactly the same as that one, and you'll get what's called air propagation. The holes can start to move or wander or get weird. So you want to just keep this one. That way you limit your errors to whatever this is imposing, okay? Now air propagation is like a game of telephone. You know, you have 25 people in a room, and at first, you know, somebody says, hey, your mom and your uncle, you know, lived in a 2-story house when they were little, okay? And then by the time the story makes it through 25 people and makes it back to you, your mom is your uncle, okay? So that's air propagation. You don't want that to go on here. Okay, all our wood is cut and drilled. Now we got to get it loaded up. You know, a lot of guys feel that they need a giant, you know, diesel F-350 or something to do the jobs. And I'm here to show you that you don't. Yeah, some of those guys in those big trucks are overcompensating. So imagine what I'm packing with this setup. Okay, so this is the hardware that comes with those mounts. They use 10mm. And here's the screws they come with. They're nice screws, but they're sheet metal. See this? And they come with little seals. But we're not gonna use these because, I mean, they might grab onto wood, but not good enough. So we're not gonna use those. Wanted to point that out to you guys. Okay, let's pick our first hole from the edge. It's right there. And let's put one of these on. I'm just gonna put the bolt in from the back. In my case, you may not have enough room if your frame's a little thinner. You could do it the other way around, doesn't matter. So these little brackets have ears. So you're gonna push it up against the frame till the ears bottom out. That's all I'm doing here. That's really secure. Just got all our brackets on, they go on instantly, it's nothing. But let's see what the distance between our bolt holes is. 40 3/4. So we'll put 40 3/4. Okay, our other measurement that really matters for spacing out our piers is gonna be the length of the panels themselves. So it's gonna be 81 3/4. Okay, so we got our distance between our holes and our piers. Okay, my wonderful wife has helped me put a panel in place. I got all my piers set up for my first row. And I've come across a little bit of a problem, is our brackets are sitting on our bolts to hold our wood. So stupid. I could just drive them straight in like that. You know what I mean? It wouldn't hurt much. If I could move the brackets further out, I wouldn't have an issue. If I just moved this bracket to here, I'd have to drill a new mounting hole on the panels. Now the other option is to move this one 2 inches forward, every single one of them 2 inches forward, and that would also work, but here's the issue. The bolt hole is a lot closer to this edge. So if I moved them inwards, look what would happen. Would barely catch any wood. If we do it on this side, just distance from the middle of the bolt head to here is about an inch. So if we move that out 2 inches, that would fix it on both sides. And my structural screws would be right there. Be like right here and here. I also knew that the angle would be an issue. I knew that from the beginning, but I'm just gonna crank them down and it'll be fine. What solution would you guys have picked? Moving them out 2 inches or drilling new holes in the panels, every single panel? I would have to put a spacer on the drill bit so I didn't hit the back of the panel. Guys, I'm at the gas station getting some diesel and I'm scarfing a cheeseburger from A&W and I've got the wrapper and I want to throw the wrapper away, but look at this bad boy. I'm not sticking my hands in there because that thing always touches your hand. And what is that? And there's no way to throw trash in there without it just licking on your hand or slurping your hand up. God. That's why trash gets just thrown all over the place. Okay, you guys, it just rained a little bit. And look at, I mean, there's a gazillion, I don't know if you guys can pick them up. There's a gazillion these winged termites or winged ants. Like a cloud of them. It's absolutely horrendous. I mean, I've flown through millions of them already. Here's a big swarm right here. Look at this. Freaking crazy. Here's the aftermath, guys, of driving in that swarm last night. Look at it. I think they're termites. I can't be positive, but... Now, these don't eat your house. They break down the dead vegetation in the desert. They're actually fire preventers. They're actually your best line of defense for fires out here. Because, like, if you get a cow or a goat, the goat and cows, they eat all your good stuff. Okay, out there. They eat all that, like anything that's green, especially the cows. And then they leave anything that's a fire hazard. Well, these things only eat the fire hazards. All right, babe. Did you want any snacks? Free snacks? We get some scrapings.
Did you want some termite soup?
Yeah. Hi, what are you doing in there? Were you happy? He looks pretty comfy. What are you doing in there? What are you doing? Okay, guys, we're running the generator. We were down to 13%. We're back up to 14%. Everything's doing its job. I need to clean those filters. I just noticed that. Okay, guys, look, we were able to solve our problem here. Our clips are now not on our bolts and they can be back in the middle of the boards. All I did was I moved the clips down the width of a clip. And let me show you that process real quick in case you have to do something similar on your panels. Here's all we're gonna do is, I'm gonna take this clip. This is the hole we were using, right? That was the closest to the edge. Okay, so all I did was, I went on the outside of this hole and then I went over here to the outside of this right here. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna center this over the hole. And I can't use it as a guide directly because it would make it too close to the end part and there's some meat to this frame and I don't wanna hit that. So now I'm gonna take my punch and I'm gonna push it towards the outside of the hole and make a center punch. Now look at this. This is actually the biggest trick here, is I've wrapped masking tape, this blue tape here, over my drill bit and then just enough so that I can push the socket on it, it stays on. And that's gonna limit our depth so that our drill bit doesn't punch through and ruin our solar panel. There's our hole. And now we can mount our clips here. Okay, you guys, I got all my piers set up and I put down our first panel. So it's all screwed down with our Simpson screws. So now all I gotta do is rock and roll. I gotta move the mounting holes on all these and start mounting them up. Here's a little snake in the driveway. I don't know what kind it is. What kind of snake is that, guys? It doesn't have a rattle on him. He's stripy. All right, let's get a stick and shoo him out of the road so I can go. There you go. Fast. You move out here and you don't start, you know, I didn't start dressing like a cowboy because I wanted to be cool. You just sort of end up wearing the outfit because it makes sense. See the sweat? The breeze goes through here and then the cooling helps. And then this helps keeps the sun off your head. So, I mean, you slowly just become a cowboy. And then even your shoes, you know, it gets to the point where you see so many snakes to where you start want to wear snake boots. And snake boots look like cowboy boots. And then pretty soon you're just a cowboy. Okay, we got the first row mounted and it went pretty well. I've got 4 more panels to do. I'm gonna go take a break and I'm gonna let this shade get over here just a little further and go get a glass of water. Okay guys, there it is. It's not a bad looking system once it's all put together. So I got the bricks for free and I got the solar panels for free. They're new old stock SunPower panels when SunPower was kind of going under. And these were their scratch and dent kind of panels here. And they disposed of them. So anyways, I picked up like 83 of them for free. But they're commercial panels, and so they look like they're about 395 watts, or they are 395 watts each. So there we go. We got 8 of them mounted up. We ended up with about 18, 19 degrees of tilt, and now it's time to wire them up. See how much power we get out of this sucker. These panels are meant to be horizontal, so you take the positive of the one panel and you plug it into the negative of the other. Now these two are connected. All right, I'll get these all hooked up. I'm just gonna connect them end to end, and then I'll come back and we'll hook up our jumper. Okay, you guys, I don't know if I've been careless or if these were damaged and this is why they went to the scrap pile. I don't know. So our nut is split here. So let's take that off. Let's cut this off. So this one was male. So let's put a male plug on there. Here's a male. So put our nut and our seals. What's interesting is out of the 2 pins, the males use the larger one. It's actually female inside. They're both male and female because on the outside it looks like a male, but on the inside this is the male plug, the bigger hole, and the smaller hole goes in there. See that? It's kind of both male and female, but in 2026 that's okay. They can do that now. Let's strip this. We'll twist the ends. Now these panels are active. I forgot to shut the sun off, but as long as you don't touch both ends of the same panel, you should be fine. Or both ends of a string, especially both ends of a string. One panel is only 50 volts. It's not gonna do too much, but a string is 500 volts. We're just gonna stick our connector here in our largest slot. Okay, now we'll just stick our wire in here and give it a crimp. Now we'll take our male connector and it just snaps on like that. And then we can slide our seal together. So this Goes in there like that. And then when this crimps down, it bites in and it retains the wire and it seals it. There you go. Super tight. Now we have a new connector on there, and we could just connect these two, the male from one and the female to the other, and organize them under there. So I'm gonna do that real quick. I'll put a link in the description for that crimper kit so you guys can fix your mistakes. Also, we're gonna need that crimper kit to make a jumper, a custom length jumper to go from one end of the panels to the other. Okay, our panels are wired up and we've got two wires that cross from one to the other, and they're all in series, and they go to this breaker here before we go to the house. Now let's turn on our breaker and then we'll check its voltage. Okay, I'm getting 351 volts. They're 50 volts each, and there's 8 of them. I thought it'd be closer to 400 volts. Although it's hotter than the dickens out here. Let's run it into the house and see if we make any power. To run our power to the back of the house, we've got a solar extension cable right here. This is 100 foot. And this wasn't advertised, but look what it came with. It came with solar wrenches, cool, connectors, the crimper. So now I got 2 of these crimpers that do that special crimp, and a stripper, but like the boring kind of stripper. But the point is that I didn't think it came with any of these extra tools. Look at that, how cool is that? I'm gonna leave a link for this extension. But yeah, it's a 100 footer, 10 gauge, which is plenty thick for the distance we're going. So I'm gonna go run this. I shocked myself with 256 volts DC, and I was sweating, so it went from my left hand through my right arm. So I came in for a precautionary EKG in the middle of the night. It's like midnight. But I just wanted to show you my resting heart rate is always 69. Okay guys, everything's hooked up, but the panels are filthy, so let's just clean them off real quick. We're using our mobile water setup here. We built another video. The barrel's always been blue. Okay, this is great. Just putting more dirt. Okay, well, I couldn't find my squeegee, so I was hoping the backside of this would work effectively as a squeegee, but we'll see. It's not too bad. Okay, I'm gonna get these cleaned up and then we're gonna flip it on. I'm super excited. I'll see you guys in a second. There's one negative thing if you lay panels flat on the ground is that water will pool up because there's a little lip right here around these. But I've already turned this on. And the extension goes around to the back of the house. Let's go take a look back there. Little coil wire there, and then it goes up. Here's a generator plug, and it goes up to this new box I just put in. And this new box, all it does is basically go into the building. Okay, so from the outside box, it comes in through this flexi into our PV breaker box, here, just like that. Our new circuit comes in from here. It goes to this first breaker. It's on the right, so it goes to our right inverter. We've got 2 inverters. Let's turn it on by itself. Now, real quick, I wanted to tell you guys about something crazy that happened. So last night, what happened was I was in here working on this panel. The sun was down. The voltage coming from the roof was like 15, 16, 17 volts, something like that. The voltage from the input that I was working on was 12 volts. Okay, so I started working on it and I got the biggest kick of like a long time. And I was sweating pretty bad. And I was stripping a wire actually from the input of, you know, this inverter here. And when I was stripping that wire, I touched the strippers with my index finger and my elbow touched this. And I got the biggest shock. So it went through my left hand, through my chest cavity, and out my right elbow. And that's really bad if you guys don't know, because that path goes like through your heart. So you don't want that. Yeah, it was a hell of a kick. And when I measured the voltage from the input of the inverter, the PV input to ground, it was 260 volts DC. And so was the negative. The negative was also 260 volts DC with reference to the equipment ground. So that was wonderful. So now the inverters were on, so that was my fault. But we ended up going to the emergency room because I I was super sweaty and I passed a lot of current through my heart. So this morning I came in and shut these down before the sun came up. And I shut down the battery breakers right here. Shut those down. And I measured voltage again in between the PV inputs, not the output, or not the solar arrays, but the PV inputs. With all the breakers shut off, it was 250 volts, even with everything off. So I ended up having to use this light bulb and a couple of jumpers, and I jumped everything to ground, and the light bulb came on each and every time for all 6 wires. So that's great. Anyways, be super careful. After that, the voltage was negligible. I was able to get my work done. But trip to the emergency room at, we got home probably around midnight. No, we got home around 1. Okay, so everything's hooked up. Let's get our screens live. We'll go to kilowatts on the solar panels. Okay, let's start flipping them on. Let's flip on our new one. Oh, you know what? Before we flip on our new one, let's double check its voltage, polarity, and everything, and range, because these things have a maximum voltage input of 500 volts. So our breaker out there is on, so it should come on. Nice. Okay, let's flip it on. Here it goes. It says PV2. It's tracking still. Now the sun just came up, but we're getting 200 watts we weren't getting before. Let's go ahead and flip up everything else. These two will be on PV1, so this will get something here pretty quick. Okay, so this one only has a PV1. This one only had a PV1 as well, but now it's got a PV2. So we're making 0.2 from PV1 and PV2. Okay, so we'll monitor it using the app, and we'll look at today's curve versus other days' curves. But we've got solar coming in. How cool is that? Okay, so our batteries are at 13%. So let's see what they are at the end of the day. With the air conditioning's running and stuff, we've been actually losing power, but this should make up for it. Okay, it's noon. It's not necessarily solar noon, but it's noon. And look at PV2, so 2.5 kilowatts. We're not making quite as much power as we're rated for, just 395 times 8, because it's so dang hot out. They lose a little bit, but look, my first string is 1.6, and then 2.5, and then my other one is 2.4. I don't have anything hooked up to PV2 on this one. So we're making a lot more power. And we're charging at a way faster rate. The array's been up for a day and a half, 40%. And that's like, remember we started off at 13, so we're building up a pretty good reserve pretty quick. I would love to put more out. I might use that system to just deploy 80 of my panels. Hey you guys, it's been 2 days since I installed the system, maybe it's 3, and I've been laying here the whole time watching. And I just wanted to give you guys some stats. So the cost of this whole system as you see it, as far as the mounting, is $339.87. And that includes, now I didn't have to buy the cinder blocks, but this is how much it would cost you. 68 cinder blocks at $2.57. The Simpson screws, 64 of them at 16 cents. The 2x4s, $3.95 each, and you need 16 of them. The hardware is $6.39 a pound, and there's 5.5 pounds. The lock nuts were $9.89 at 0.44 pounds, and the eco-worthy mounts were 26 bucks, but you need 2 of them, so that's 52 bucks. So anyways, the point is that the total is $339.87 to mount all this. Now the next closest thing would be the Integra rack from Signature Solar, and that's $129, and you need 10 of them. So that's $1,290. They include shipping, but then you're gonna need ballast. So this has the ballast built in, but you're gonna have to buy ballast. Let's say you spent the same on ballast, 175 bucks for those 68 bricks, and you're at $1,464.76. Now I didn't include tax on each, but they'd be a lot more on the Integra. So the cost is 4.31 times more. So 4.3 times more, possibly after tax is gonna be, closer to 4.5 or so. So 4.5 times more expensive. Now, the next closest thing is something called a power field from Signature Solar. There's these plastic buckets that you buy and fill up with dirt. And there's $90 each, and you'd need 10 of them to do this. And that would cost you $900. So 2.7 times more. So that's your cost. Now I wanted to tell you about that when I got shocked. When I went to the hospital and I was laying there, the doctor came in and he said your EKG looks normal, like normal. And the guy's talking like me, and I realized the doctors are my age now, so that feels great. But he said the EKG looks normal, and I said, Doc, I said, has anybody came in here after electrical shock and their EKG was different? And he said, well, I had a group of 4 people come in the other day, because it's been monsooning. He says, and they'd been hit by lightning. And he says, and their EKGs were normal. And he said they had temporary paralysis in their legs, but their EKGs were just fine. And they stayed here, we monitored them until their legs worked again, and then they walked out of here. And so the doctor basically called me a giant wuss without saying it. So it's great. I'm glad I went in there for my 264 volt shock when these guys got hit by lightning, waited around till they felt better and went home. So anyways, that's my story, guys. We'll catch you later. Thanks for watching. Oh, real quick, by the way, with these 8 additional solar panels, we're making 53% more power, which is funny because there's 15 panels and 8 over 15 is like 53%. So they're making the exact, like the ratio is, you know, they have all these marketing gimmicks. These are Maxion cells and all this stuff. I don't even know what those are up there, but they've been up there dying in the sun forever. And the ratio is still exactly the same. So just buy a lot of solar panels and set them up.